BF Day proudly presents Mr. M's Math Class.
Hi, and welcome to episode 19 of Mr. M's Math Class. 19 episodes, craziness. So, I just wanted to quickly say thanks for watching and being here with me. It's really great to see you. And keep sending in that work. Keep sending in pictures of yourself looking at the episodes and silly pictures of me. It's really great to see everything. So thank you for doing such great math. In today's episode, we're going to be doing a lot of things. I'm not going to go over all the agenda. It's going to be a pretty standard episode, so it'll follow the same sequence of events. Just a couple things to talk about in the beginning, though, is that we are close to wrapping up all of the math content. There are a few fifth grade things that we need to go over, but overall, we finished all the fourth grade content. And so we're just going to kind of finish off the fifth grade content, which is pretty exciting. So really nice job. And then the last plug for the Pi memorization contest. That's happening the following Friday, June 5th at 2 p.m. And if you are interested in participating, have your parents email me just saying that you are going to participate. It should be a really interesting time. It'll be on through Zoom. I'll let kids one in at a time to tell me their to memorize, to tell me to recite pi. And so if you are interested in that, please let me know. So first thing, as we always do here, are pictures of you looking at the last episode, and silly pictures of me. All right, next up is our estimation 180, and today was provided to us by Tegan, and his question is, how many objects are in the jar? How many objects are in the jar? All right, so I'm going to go over the answer to the quarantine challenge question number 8, which is called common ties. And it says, following the number sequence shown here, what is the next number? And we start at 1, go to 8, 11, 69, 88, 96, 101, 111, 181, 609, and you get to figure out what was next. This is an interesting one because all you would have to do is realize that all these numbers are the same upside down. And so the next number that would be the same upside down is actually 619. And so quite a few, we got that one correct. And as soon as I got that correct, are Holland, Fergus, Zoe, Mateo, and Oliver. So that is of this taping. I have not gotten any more entries, but if you turned it in late, let me know and I'll see if I can get you some credit. But 619, and congratulations on those of you who got it correct.
All right, so in today's episode, we're going to be dividing by powers of 10. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a quick string. And then we're going to talk about kind of what patterns you notice there. So if you want to do this mentally, make sure to pause the video before I reveal the answer for each one. If you want to follow along, you can do this either mentally or with a piece of paper and a pencil. So again, pause if you need to go grab that so that you can be ready. So the first one you're going to think about is 10 times 1/10. And so here, you can either think about this as this one being 10 times bigger, so I would move the decimal point over to the right, or because it's a tenth, I will move the decimal point over to the left here. So either way, you get an answer of 1. Number 2, if I multiply 10 times 6/10, again, I'm trying to make 6/10 10 times bigger, or 10 6/10 bigger, which would just be 6. Number 3, 600 times 1/10, 2 times 100th, my apologies. So here, I'm multiplying by 100th, and so there's an invisible decimal point, so I have to make it 100 times smaller, which gives us an answer of 6. And number 4, we have 600 times 4 hundredths. Now this one's a little tricky, so I'm going to let you think about that one. So this one's different because I'm not multiplying by a tenth here, right? And so here I'm making it 100 times smaller, 1, 2, but then I'm actually multiplying 6 times 4, which gives us an answer of just 24. Tricky. And number 5, we have 40 times 8 tenths. Same thing, because it's tenths, I'm making this 1 time smaller. And then 4 times 8 is 32, or I'm making it 10 times smaller, so it's 32. So some of the things you might be noticing here is that multiplying by a tenth is kind of like dividing by 10. So these would be the same as if I did 10 divided by 10 is 1. So those are similar there, right? Which is kind of interesting. Another one here, the 600 times 4 hundredths. I can think about this as, well, first I can do 600 divided by 100, which gives me 6. And then I do 6 times 4, and that gets me 24. So it's an interesting way of kind of changing this a little bit. So we're going to move into looking at the worksheets that you're going to work on right now to hopefully help you think about these. So this is the first part, and there are 3 pages. So this is page 1. And it says, fill out the table below to show how many t-shirts you could buy with different amounts of money. Now, I'm not going to solve every single one of these, but I'm going to do some of them, and we're going to look at the examples here. So, so a t-shirt costs $10. And it says that up here. Alfonso's company sells t-shirts to soccer teams. Each t-shirt costs $10. So we're going to go to this thing here, letter B. You're going to skip A. You'll do that one on your own. But if each t-shirt costs $10, and I only have $10, how many shirts can I buy? 1, so I only bought 1. If I have $20 and each t-shirt costs 10, 20 divided by 10 is 2, so I could buy 2 shirts. If I have $100 and each t-shirt costs $10, I could buy 10 shirts. And let's do one more. If I have $200 and each shirt costs $10, I can buy 20 shirts, right? So let's make it a little bit more complicated. So go into page 2. I say, Amelia feeds her pet lizard crickets. Pet store sells crickets for 10 cents each. That sounds a little trickier. So this one's 10 cents. If each one costs 10 cents and I have 10 cents, how many crickets can I buy? 1. And the fraction equation is that 1/10 divided by 1/10 is 1. I'm going to get 1 cricket. If I have 20 cents and each cricket costs 10 cents, I could get 2 crickets, or 2/10 divided by a tenth is 2, or 2 crickets. Now if I have $1 and each cricket costs 10 cents, I can buy 10 crickets. And here, for 1, I would change this fraction into tenths, so it's 10 over 10, which is the same as 1, divided by 1/10, gives me 10, or 10, I'm going to put 10C for crickets. I'll do one more. If I have $2 and each cricket costs 10 cents, I can buy 20 of them. And for 2, I still want to keep the the tenths as the denominator, so I'm going to do 20 tenths divided by 1/10 is 20, or 20 crickets. All right, let's go to the next page. And then the last one says the post office sells 1 cent stamps. So if I have 1 cent and they cost a cent, I could only buy 1 stamp. And the fraction for a cent would be 1/100th divided by 100th. And then so on here, I'm going to go to this one. If I have 10 cents and each penny cost 1 cent, how many stamps can I buy? 10. So that is 10 hundredths divided by 1/100th gives me 10, or 10s, 10 stamps. Now if I have 40 cents and each stamp costs a cent, I can buy 40 of them, or 40 hundredths divided by 1/100th is 40, or 40 stamps. So I'm actually going to ask you to finish these worksheets, these first 3 pages, and then pause the video here and then come back when you finish all 3 of these pages. So I'm going to give you a moment to do that. All right, so the hope is that you would have finished the 3 pages at this point. And so let's look at our charts here, because there's a question here at the bottom. It says, what do you notice about dividing by 10? So 100 divided by 10 is 10. 200 divided by 10 is 20. 450 divided by 10 is 45. 310 divided by 10 is 321. And 1020 divided by 10 is 102. So when I'm dividing by 10, you might have noticed a couple of things. That one, I take away a 0, or I move the decimal point over to the left once, and to make it 10 times smaller, right? So I'm dividing by 10. So that's something that you might have noticed. Another thing that's really interesting about this is that 100 divided by 10 equals 10 is the same as 100 times 1/10. There's a connection there between these two. Same with the last one. If I had 1020 divided by 10 is 102, that's the same as 1020 divided by 1/10 equals 102, right? So times. 1020 times 1/10 is 102, and that's the connection there. That's the thing that's interesting about dividing by 10. Now, if I'm dividing by a tenth here, so if I had 1 divided by a tenth, I end up with 10. So if I have $1 and each lizard costs 10 cents, that's 10. And that is the same as 1 times 1/10, which is the same as 10. Which is interesting, right? How many tenths are there? 1 of 1/10 is 10. And so same thing here. If I have 5 and 20 hundredths divided by a tenth, that gives me 52. And that is the same, actually, no, sorry. Same as multiplying by 10. I got a little tricked out there. It's okay to make mistakes, right? This is the same as $5.20 times 10 gives me 52, right? So I'm making it 10 times bigger. Here I'm trying to figure out how many tenths are there in $5.20. There's 52 of them. Let's do one more. If I have $3.30 divided by a tenth, that would be 33. And that's the same as $3.30 times 10, which gives me 33. Again, I'm moving the decimal point over to the right. It's a really interesting thing. Now, you might have noticed here, we're thinking about hundredths now. And the last one, if I had 40 cents and I'm dividing it by 100th, I get 40, right? That's the same as 40 hundredths times 100 gives me 40. I'm moving the decimal point over twice. This is in the hundredths place, and I'm making it 100 times bigger over on this side. Now, if I had $2.47 divided by 100th, that gives me 247. That's the same as $2.47 times 100. I move the decimal point over twice and get 247. Interesting. So there is one more worksheet that you're going to work on after this. I'm not going to show it to you, but just know that is more practice on everything that we just talked about. And so I wish you luck on that. And if you have any questions, please let me know.
All right, so our new coloring mural for this week is the following. So I'm going to show you here what that looks like. It is a Slytherin mural, and so you can work on that. It looks pretty cool. And then the new quarantine challenge question is called Get Your Skates On. And it says, Monsieur de Bigue of the Paris police was a keen ice skater and often frequented his local Parisian ice rink. He was getting annoyed at how frequently he was getting knocked into by other skaters. He decided to see how many collisions occurred between skaters on the ice, so started counting. When there were 50 skaters on the ice, 10 collisions occurred. With 75 skaters, there were 15 collisions, while 90 skaters on the ice, there were 18 collisions. Calculate mentally how many collisions there would be if, one extremely busy Saturday evening, there were 160 skaters on the ice. And this is due next Tuesday, June 2nd at noon. So make sure to turn that one in. All right, that does it for today's episode. Thanks again for joining me. We are going to be wrapping up the powers of 10. And so that was the kind of the last part of it today. We are going to move into multiplying and dividing decimals by other decimals in Friday's episode and next week as well. So be ready for that. And here is the estimation answer by Tegan. See you guys next time.